waiting.
All right.
Get it done, get a few.
Hello.
How are you?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Jerry, I remember you way back from My Secret Identity.
Crazy.
Do you ever just stop and think, my God, I am Superman now?
You know what's so funny? I hadn't really thought of that character as like being a superhero. I don't. You know, it's difficult also when you live with Mystique to sort of call yourself and say you've had any sort of superhero experience. That's most of the superhero attention in our family goes toward Rebecca. But now that I'm Superman, you know, what? You're absolutely right. Now I've got to really sort of step it up. We're not on equal footing yet, but I'm definitely making strides.
Rebecca, do you think that now that you're working together in this movie, you guys have brought your chemistry onto the screen? What was that like?
I do think that we do have chemistry in the movie. Ironically, Jerry and I have actually worked together a lot over the years. This is one of the most classic love stories ever told, and we didn't get to work one day together on it.
Oh,
they
wow.
have us do all of our dialogue separately, and then they bring us back in once they set it to the animation to tweak our dialogue, and that's the first time we get to see if whether our scenes worked or not, and they do. They work really well. I mean, it's a real testament to our amazing directors and the great actors in this, because everyone just is great.
We really have a rapport when you finally, you know, we just saw it yesterday, and we're going to watch it again tonight, but we really have a rapport. It's really funny, and we didn't record it together. That's just not how they record these things.
We didn't read any of it at home together. I mean, I got emotional just being in the booth and realizing that I was playing this iconic character that I'd known and loved since I was a child, and playing out this love story. It was like saying dialogue that I remember Margot Kidder saying. I was like, I get to do this. I mean, it was kind of overwhelming. So I came home emotional from that, but it's not like we went home and like worked out our scenes together or anything.
Were you aware you were in the movie together?
Yeah, I just found out 5 minutes ago.
You know what? Watching it yesterday, I realized why they really did it. You know, and it actually wasn't just for, hey, they'll go to Comic-Con together and do interviews and it'll be fun. It really, like, you know, Death of Superman, it's very emotional at times. There's a dramatic sort of arc there that happens where Clark decides in Death of Superman to tell Lois that, you know,
Who his true identity
he
is.
is not only Clark Kent, and it's great. It's really, the DC animation peeps are just doing great stuff these days.
When you saw the film, that fight to me, like, there've been a lot of fights in these movies over the years, but the dynamic between you two and everything going on around it seems really extra emotional than normal. I'm just curious what your thoughts are about that whole sequence, that whole...
Our daughters were sobbing hysterically.
They were freaking out. Call
We
child
actually-
services now. They were freaking out. Oh my God! When Doomsday was like pounding on Superman,
They were sobbing.
Our kids were like screaming, like, "Shut it off! Stop it!"
No, they didn't do that, Jerry. Don't. I'm gonna get in trouble. We're terrible parents.
Because we showed them Death of Superman. I think a lot of people listening to this will say that we're terrific parents.
That's right.
What kind of source material did you guys go back to?
Mine's Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder. I'm a child of the 80s.
Mine is the actual Death of Superman. I was 18 when it came out in '92.
Was it really?
Yeah. It was a big deal. And when they said they were doing it, it was I knew it was going to be a big deal. I thought they did a great job of paying homage to the original source material and also sort of putting a new sort of spin on it. DC animation is the best as far as I'm concerned.
What do you think Superman represents in today's world? I think it's that to both of you, actually.
Hope, I guess. Hope.
Yeah.
Whatever the opposite of Batman is.
Man.
Speaking of which, Jason O'Mara wants a fight after this.
Did you see the Mr. Rogers movie?
Not yet, I want to.
Well, he says something pretty poignant. It's important that movie comes out now because it's a crazy time right now, but it's all about, his mother used to say when I was scared watching the news, always look for the helpers. There's always someone who's helping. And I feel like that's important for us to hear right now, but I feel like that's who Superman represents. He's the helper. He's the one who's helping. It'll make you feel better when times are dark.
Jerry, you voiced a lot of DC characters and Captain Marvel and Superman.
Yeah.
You're even Adam on just the action, weren't you?
And Nightwing.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyone else you like a crack at?
You know, it's been really fun for me to sort of work up the ranks of the DC animated world, you know? I mean, but where do I go from Superman? Like, I mean, is there anyone else I want to voice? No. Well, let me just stay at this one for a while. I mean, it's such an honor. I mean, I couldn't believe it when they asked, you know? I can't believe I'm still here.
For those of us like you who grew up with this story as a big touchstone, is there a particular element of the Death and Return story that you were super eager to get to?
I think it's just the mere fact, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but it is in the title. I just think the mere fact that they did it, you know? I remember when I first got Death of Superman, I was like, are they going to do this? And then they did it, you know? It was, I think that's what was, I don't want to say cool, but that's what was shocking, I guess, you know? They did it.
Rebecca, this has nothing to do with Superman. You were announced, obviously, joining Star Trek. I'm just curious what your feeling is about becoming a part of Star Trek.
It's awesome. I just got introduced to Twitter Trek. It's a world I had not known about until I just turned on my phone 5 minutes ago. I was like, whoa! Oh yeah, it's wild. It's a real honor. It's a real honor.
It's crazy. Rebecca's getting a lot of LLAPs in the halls and stuff.
That'll be that way for the rest of your life now, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Superman
cool.
and Star Trek, look at that.
Yeah. It's really funny. We have our outfits set for when we go walk the floor at the conference. We're done.
Yeah, I get to wear the original gold. My character's from the original series.
So
And
Captain Pike ship, is that?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
play number 1, who's second in command to Captain Pike.
Awesome.
And so when we get on board the ship Discovery, which is the ship before Enterprise, takes place 10 years before the original series, we show up in the original gold.
How cool was that?
It was awesome. It was so awesome.
Can you say if you were in the Prime universe?
I'm sorry.
Are you in the Prime? Is your character in the Prime universe? The mirror universe.
For Star Trek, you're way ahead of me. I have no idea.
Since we are going off topic, are you guys doing any other projects together? Like you guys have done some Hallmark movies, and are you guys going to be doing anything else together?
No,
I did an episode of Carter. Jerry's got a show.
Oh yeah, I have a show coming out on WGN America, and Rebecca's in the finale. Spoiler alert there. That was really fun.
Yeah.
What's the show, Carter?
Carter is a guy who's an actor in in sort of like a dopey cop procedural, and he plays a tough detective, but he moves back to his small hometown, and he thinks he can tell the police department how they should solve crimes because he's a TV detective. So it's a lot like Castle, except instead of him being a writer, he's a TV actor. It's funny. It's really cute.
With a character like that,
And there's a serial killer in town, and Rebecca plays my boss who created the show I work on, and Rebecca comes to the town, and we don't have like the money or the resources to get an FBI profiler, so we say, hey, you wrote that script about that FBI profiler, come and profile this person. And so Rebecca, using her television writer skills, helps us profile who the killer is. It's really funny.
I feel like you play a lot of very optimistic and naive, almost characters.
Right. Some would argue that Clark Kent is
Well, that's what I was going
optimistic.
to say. What's the difference playing somebody who's kind of dopey in that, or somebody like Superman who's just the kind of ultimate version?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess it's so funny because in real life I'm just a pessimist and I'm just like very like dark. No, yeah, it's a fun to play the optimism that Clark and Superman have. You know, it's better than brooding like Batman all the time, like being all aggro.
Rebecca, you played Mystique, of course, and now you're Lois. Is there any other superhero you would like a crack at yourself?
I guess there was, for a long time, I was really hoping I could do Black Widow, which they're now doing, obviously. But no, I'm just like...
No, man, when we saw Wonder Woman, what was the first thing you said when we saw that opening scene?
Oh, I was like, I want to be on that island. Why am I not on that island? I wanted to be in that fight scene so bad.
Clocking in at 6 foot. Like, come on, DC Universe, make it happen.
My agent's here. We should all yell at him.
Where did you go wrong?
All right, Rebecca, let me ask you a question. Since I guess it's more the world to you doing voice acting, what challenges did you find compared to?
I've actually done quite some voice acting. I love it. It's of course no time in hair and makeup, which I love. It's great. There's a lot of very subtle innuendo you get to play with when you're just focusing on voice, and you don't have to think about making faces. It's fun. I love it. Yeah.
It's Rebecca's really good at it too. You know, it was really funny watching this film. Like my wife is just. I just thought you played Lois with like the right amount of sort of like fast talking, you know, go get 'em sort of stuff, and then you play the emotional stuff. It's really.
I was a voice major in college, so I'm a real voice person. I was a singer, so I'm into voices. So yeah, it's fun.
Thank you guys.
All right, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
You guys have a great
Really appreciate you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.